Today's show is brought to you by Woodward, PA. For 55 years, Woodward has been one of the largest overnight camps in the world. They say over 200,000 kids have had the summer of a lifetime at Woodward, PA. Woodward, PA is an overnight summer camp for ages 7 to 17, 9 weeks to choose from. Programs include skateboarding, mountain bikes, scooters, BMX freestyle, and race parkour, roller skate, and creative arts. They're located 3 hours from Pittsburgh, so 30 minutes or so from State College, and Woodward is offering $300 off a full week of summer camp for any program. All you have to do is enter the code CITYCAST, all one word, at checkout and get your kid ready for an unforgettable summer. Visit woodwardpa.com. This is CityCast Pittsburgh. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. Colin, Mallory, what snack would you bring to a bridge demolition viewing party?
I feel like it's got to be just like an Iron City, you know?
Oh, you just want that crisp, like, can crack situation? I have one in front of me. It's a sparkling water, though, not an Iron City.
Yeah, I think really that's the move for the city of bridges.
Yeah, if I just had that handy.
I was thinking more like what's something that when you bite into it, it explodes the way a bridge might. So maybe like a molten lava cake. I don't know, but Iron City beer feels much more appropriate.
I think if you're going for that, Mallory, you need one of those like Nature Valley granola bars where like when you bite into it, it just turns into like 1,000 little crumbs.
I mean, fair, but if you bring granola bars to a party, you are not going to be the MVP.
Yeah, that's only like a small step above bringing plates.
It depends on what time of day it is, I think, because like if it's in the morning, then the granola bar feels like on point. But if it's in the afternoon, then maybe it's more Iron City. It also depends on your friend group. I love that y'all are so literal about this. I was CityCast Pittsburgh executive producer Mallory Falk and our wonderful contributor and managing editor of City Paper, Colin Williams. We are going to be talking about road closures, truly all the ways that PennDOT is going to make our lives difficult over the next month and how to make the best of it. A nearby township merger that we think might be a good example for everybody, and your wins and losses for this week.
And then on today's members-only bonus segment, we are talking about some changes that are coming to our team, the first of a few, plus a special goodbye to a very beloved member of our team. So if you want to hear that and you are not already a member, you can go to membership.citycast.fm to sign up and hear that special goodbye.
And a housekeeping note, you've probably noticed this if you're a regular listener to CityCast. Our company, our larger company, of course, we're national, has a weekly podcast now where they cover all kinds of things from all over the nation. It's called Your City Could Be Better. You've probably seen it in our feed. And yes, we get this question all the time. They do know that the name is a little snarky. They are leaning into that. I think that fits the personality of the host. That's our CEO, David Plotz. And if you listen to the show, you're going to hear hosts from all across the CityCast network. And different kinds of experts too that talk about like experiments in localism and urbanism. I was on before talking about reading up before the draft and some things that the Downtown Partnership had been trying as it relates to like trying to plug some of the empty holes that were all over the place before company came to town. This week's episode actually features a past friend of the pod here in Pittsburgh. We've talked to this guy before.
Yeah, and this one is perfect if you have summer plans, if you're considering summer plans. So the guest is Scott Keys, the founder and chief flight expert of Going, formerly known as Scott's Cheap Flights. When he was on our show, he was sharing pro tips for finding good flights out of PIT. And on this episode, he's going to be talking about what makes a perfect airport.
And he did touch on that a little bit in the episode before, but he was talking about our old airport before they redid the whole terminal space. He was a little judgy in a funny way. I liked it.
I did just fly out of the newly refashioned Pittsburgh International Airport about 2 weeks ago, and it is so much nicer. It really lives up to the billing. I love the public art. And actually parking in the terminal lot was a lot easier. The only thing that really hasn't changed is it still takes forever to get to the airport here.
Well, and I know that one of the things Scott's going to be talking about on this episode is why being able to get in and out of the airport easily and cheaply can be an underrated metric of a city. So I kind of have a feeling Pittsburgh is not going to score very well on this metric.
Yeah, so if you want to listen to Your City Could Be Better, it'll be in our feeds every Saturday. You can also listen to it in real time on Fridays if you want to subscribe to the show directly. They're also on YouTube, just like we are. We'll put a link in our show notes to the back catalog in case you want to check out my episode or any of the past ones. They are really fun.
Yeah, and Megan, your turn in the rotation is probably coming up soon. So if anyone is listening and you have an idea for what Megan should talk about on the show, call our Your City Could Be Better hotline, 412-212-8893.
Yes, recommendations for things we can brag about because that's fun, or complain about, but it's to a national audience, so just calibrate, y'all, okay? We will start with road nightmares because bridge construction season is popping off. It is everywhere. It's awful. It's traffic hell.
It is traffic hell. In the east of the town in particular, we are going to be dealing with one of the biggest construction projects to Pittsburgh roads in a very long time. Specifically speaking, tonight at 9 p.m., the Parkway East is going to close.
It's here. It's finally here.
This is the stretch between the Squirrel Hill Tunnel and the Edgewood and Swissvale exits, and it is closing basically so that we can put this new bridge in place. And that closure is going to result in, as we mentioned, traffic hell and demons walking the earth, or driving the earth more probably, because we're going to have all of that traffic from Parkway East diverted onto Penn Avenue, which, by the way, is itself closed between Winebiddle and Stratford for a full renovation. So this is really kind of the confluence of some really huge projects that is going to make commutes very difficult for a lot of Pittsburghers, I think.
I mean, it's so bad that PennDOT is actively asking employers in Pittsburgh, like, please give your workers remote options. Please give them flexible schedules. If you have a remote option for your job, stay home. Like PennDOT, it feels like the draft all over again. The warnings about, like, if you don't have to drive, do not drive.
It has that kind of same apocalyptic tone for sure.
And it's wild to me that we're doing this again, like on this side of the Squirrel Hill Tunnel, because it truly feels like it was just yesterday that we did this just in front of the Squirrel Hill Tunnel. Which bridge? What's the name of that bridge? I forget. It's the one that like everyone made fun of us for a while because there was a bridge under the bridge to catch all the bridge debris.
Oh, yeah, the Greenfield Bridge.
Is that the Greenfield one? Okay.
Yeah, the Greenfield Bridge had a bridge under the bridge to catch the falling pieces. That was a truly Pittsburgh phenomenon.
This one's fancier, I guess, because they're doing the demo and then sliding one into place with like the fancy technology. But we've done this before. And why is it always the Squirrel Hill Tunnel that like gets this kind of treatment?
I do have some bad news for you on that front, Megan, which is that the bridge approaching the Squirrel Hill Tunnel is also very old and at some point is going to need to be replaced. So the Saline Street Bridge, in addition to the Commercial Street Bridge, is a future project. So this is going to happen again, Pittsburgh. I unfortunately have to be the bearer of bad news there.
Past, present, and future, the Squirrel Hill Tunnel is here to do your commute in.
You know, Sophia and I talked a little bit about this whole nightmare on a previous show. And at the time, we had a lot of questions about how this would actually work. Like, how do you slide a bridge into place? Some of those questions have now been answered.
Yes, it was very funny hearing Sophia like try to like piece that together. I love it. It was so pure. And we really didn't know much about it at the time.
No, so we know a lot more now. Apparently, there's this company from the Netherlands that specializes in moving heavy objects. And so they are going to be the ones coming here and slowly sliding the new bridge into place. Apparently, it weighs 22 million pounds. So you do need to bring in the experts here. I was reading this KDKA article about all this, and someone with PennDOT was kind of quashing rumors that they're going to use dish soap to make it slide. Though apparently that is a method sometimes that's used.
No.
But this guy said that they're using some kind of manufactured spray lubricant.
So if you do want to see how this all works, PennDOT is actually going to be live streaming this. I will definitely be glued to this feed for at least part of the time. The live stream is starting today with the closure of the bridge, and it's going to run until the project is complete on August 3rd is the expected finishing date. And there are going to be links in the show notes, I understand, for where you can actually watch this live stream, and you can join me in breaking out the popcorn to hopefully see this bridge get slowly pushed into place.
The popcorn and the icy light.
3.5 weeks. 3.5 weeks it's going to take.
But wait, that's not all. If you liked the road construction on Parkway East, you'll love the road construction coming to Parkway North.
Honestly, yeah, it's construction, it's closures, all on 79, north and southbound, all north of the city. And this is going on through early to mid-August, so like exactly the same time period. And it's for a bunch of different projects, it seems. So if you've driven through there recently, you've probably seen like construction vehicles all over the place. They're changing the ramps, like the entire interchange around Wexford, which actually, if you're a bridge nerd, has been fascinating to see. I go up there at least once a week, and it's huge pieces of bridge moving around. It's really interesting.
It's been cool to watch it all come together too, especially because the kind of piers under the bridge actually went into place before they were backfilled. Like the whole process has been kind of fascinating.
It definitely made me realize, not that I ever thought I knew how bridges are built, but it emphasized to me that I am much more ignorant than I thought I was about how this kind of stuff can come together. There's also, I think it's Jack's Run Bridge.
Yeah, the Jack's Run Bridge had degraded structural steel, so they're actually completely demolishing and rebuilding that bridge. I think it saw like several thousand cars a day before it was closed, so there's been a pretty significant detour for residents of Bellevue and Westview.
Yep. So that if you drive up there, it's like between the Perrysville exit and the Camp Horn or Westview exits. Anyway, that is also covered in construction vehicles. There's been vehicles everywhere around Camp Horn, and I can't tell if they have another project there or if they're just staging because there's more room right there. Anyway, all of it is a mess, and it's going to stretch into 2027, like some of these projects. But the thing that's like most complicated in July and into early August is that most of the full-blown road closures are happening overnight, but at different times of the night. They're doing it like accordion style so that like if there's a Pirates game or there's a concert in the city, the roads don't officially close until 2 hours later. But that means if you live north or you have family coming in from the north and they're coming into the city, boy, they better be checking to see when the road officially closes, because that could destroy your evening on the way home at 1 o'clock in the morning, you know? Okay, we're going to stay north for a minute. There are two nearby spots that are trying to merge. This is not in the city, but I feel like it's extremely relevant to all the people who call us, who write us, who ask about why things cost so much or how Pennsylvania could maybe be more efficient with some of its spending. This is a good example of one option to do that is available to Pennsylvania municipalities, boroughs, townships, cities, and we don't talk about it enough. So that's why we thought this was worth bringing up here, because it's happening in real time.
At long last, we have an actual municipal merger to discuss on CityCast.
This is Colin's Roman Empire, honest to God. Okay, so this is north of the city. It's just across the county line into Butler. Adams Township and Mars Borough are trying to consolidate. So for those who are not familiar, Colin, back me up here. If you've, like, say, for example, if you live in Ross Township, your postal code is probably still Pittsburgh, because that's literally where the post office sits. This is the same thing that's happening in Adams and Mars. So like Adams Township residents, all of their mail says that they live in Mars, Pennsylvania. Their kids go to Mars School District, but they pay their taxes to Adams Township. It is so confusing, and it's like this all over the state.
Yeah, I think one thing to really front load here is that Allegheny County has a ton of municipalities, and even Butler County has quite a few municipalities compared to other counties nationwide with a similar population size. As just one point of comparison, we actually have the second in Allegheny County, not in Butler County. We have the second largest number of municipalities of any county in the United States, and that's the second most outside of Cook County, Illinois, which is home to Chicago. So one real point of comparison here, you might think like, oh yeah, two big cities, two big counties, lots of municipalities, blah, blah, blah. But Allegheny County has 1.2 million people, and that's compared to 5.2 million people in Cook County, Illinois. So it is interesting that these municipalities are so small, and Mars is really just a tiny little island in Adams Township. So in a lot of ways, this does kind of make sense, and this is what leadership in both of these jurisdictions have recognized. So the way this is kind of played out is this has been discussed for the past few months. And on Monday, Mars Borough Council voted 6-1 to actually approve the merger. Adams Township had previously approved a merger ordinance last month. So this now is going to kick the responsibility for making the decision to voters. In November, they're going to have a rare opportunity. As we've discussed in Pennsylvania, these referendums are pretty rare. But this would give voters the opportunity in November to create Mars Township out of the combined municipalities. So they've got a whole project page about it. Voters will have lots of time to kind of think this over and what the relative benefits are. But both people are seeing this as a win-win. Like Adams and Mars, I think, both stand to gain from this whole experience.
With the exception of that one voter in Mars Council who said he needed more information. When I was reading stories about it, I was like, dude, the project page is so many pages. How did you need somebody to read it to you like a bedtime story? The more information of it all like cracked me up.
I mean, the skepticism actually has been a lot higher in some of these other instances where mergers have been proposed. I mean, there was a Beaver County merger in Center Township some years ago, and it was a pretty hotly contested issue. So the fact that this was approved as expeditiously as it was is actually a pretty good sign for this. But what leaders in both of these places are saying is that this is shared services and it's shared tax revenue. So for Mars residents, this actually means lower taxes. This is a kind of a perk of this whole situation is they're going to be adopting Adams Township's 3.75 mils rate of taxes. So, and this kind of makes sense for the area as well, because Butler County has really been exploding in population, especially compared to the rest of the metro, which has been losing population. It's one of the few areas that has year-over-year growth. But low taxes have been a big incentive for people to cross that county line and settle down in Cranberry and places around it. So,
and this is just next to Cranberry. Like I think if it's like Cranberry, Seven Fields, which is like a thimble size, like it's so tiny. And then you have Adams. And then, like you said, Colin, Mars is like in the center of that.
Right. So this would see them kind of be bundled together. And for Adams residents, what that means is they would have access to better services. They are effectively kind of taking over the municipal levels of power. As I understand it, Mars is kind of getting subsumed into Adams, but with their combined council will gain a seat. So Mars voters will have a say in who occupies those, whether they keep some of their existing leadership. But for both of the municipalities, this is a big upgrade in terms of law enforcement. They'll suddenly have access to 24/7 police services, which they did not previously have. And it also just means better parks upkeep, more combined funding that they can use for public works projects, which is really important as their population grows. They're going to need more infrastructure. So it on paper at least looks like a good situation for both of these places.
You know what? The real win in all of this is that Adams Township, Mars Township now gets to claim ownership of Stick City Brewing. That's the real win for the residents up there.
Oh, and if you have not tasted Stick City, I definitely recommend it. It is worth the drive from Pittsburgh. They have some really good beers.
Oh, and that meatball mascot thing that Mars has that won like those contests earlier this year. Like it's the Mars Fighting Planets, but the mascot itself looks like a meatball. Now Adams gets to benefit from that too.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity to share in the civic pride that comes with having a UFO statue in your town square.
Honestly.
Which is also funny because, Colin, I know you've previously said that, there's this idea that the hardest animal to kill is a Pennsylvania high school mascot. But I guess if you look enough like a meatball, maybe everybody can come together.
Everybody wins.
But because they are so small, but like still have to provide essential services. I saw this quote in a Spotlight PA article saying a municipality with 300 households has to enforce the same stormwater management regulation as a municipality with 2,500 households. And so the idea of like asking these really tiny places to try to do this work, complex work. Yeah, it doesn't always make a lot of sense. And you get this like unnecessary duplication. I saw this stat, for example, that 83 different municipalities manage the sewer system that serves the Pittsburgh metro area. That reporting was from 2014, so the number might be slightly off now, but you get the idea that it just raises questions about like, what are we doing here? Why is that necessary? Is that the best use of resources?
I feel like the perfect example to this, we talk so much about like the fleet and other things. I was recently reminded.
The vehicle fleet, yeah.
Yeah, like ambulances, fire trucks, police cars, whatever, they get old. I always love going down to the Brentwood Borough Parade in the South Hills for like the 4th of July. It's like so much fun. The end of it, the big finish is 1 million fire trucks because they come from all over the region. And you're just like, why does each one of these like 3 square mile places need $1 million fire truck? Why is that a thing? And like, they're nice, they're shiny. I understand that there's a lot of local pride. All those firefighters like take great pride in what they're doing. But do we need that many? Do we need them?
I mean, this runs into some other more serious issues too, where in a lot of these places, the fire departments are volunteer run, and they're in municipalities.
And some of those are.
Yeah, in municipalities with declining populations, it's sometimes really difficult to actually get people to volunteer and serve in those roles. And in the past, when we've also had issues with police violence, it was in places like East Pittsburgh, where there were less resources for training. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking specifically about the killing of Antoine Rose, that this was a huge local issue. Yeah. And part of it came down to the fact that East Pittsburgh was employing, I think, like one full-time officer and a couple part-timers. And it was one of these folks who had previously had infractions elsewhere who ended up pulling the trigger in that moment. So you do, when you have consolidated services, you can be a little bit more robust. And I would also say, I know this has been a hotly contested issue in Pittsburgh, but it is remarkable that we have not annexed another municipality in Pittsburgh since 1930. It's been almost 100 years. And Pittsburgh is actually one of the smallest municipalities by square miles in the nation. We're only 55 square miles. So, if you look at all these patchworks where we've got Braddock and North Braddock and East Pittsburgh and Braddock Hills and Rankin all right next to each other with separate services, or Homestead across the river with all those other municipalities.
West Homestead, Munhall, Whitaker.
Right. Like at some point, if you're losing population, if you're not providing these wraparound services, this just makes sense in my view. So what's going to happen next, at least here, is, the voters will have their say. And if this is approved, then Mars Township will come into being in 2028. But if it fails, this is going to be shelved for 5 years. So I guess in this case, I'm rooting for the success of this project because I think it could set the tone for some of these other municipalities to at least consider if this might be worth their time.
And for what it's worth, Public Source has a great oldie but a goodie explainer on this whole concept. It's called fragmentation and how it affects your daily life. So we'll link that in the show notes. All right, we've got a few shout outs from our members. Our membership program, we like to call them our neighbors. Matthew F. has 2 recommendations for meeting new people in the city: Pittsburgh Social Club and Allegheny HYP Club. So the Social Club hosts events for young people in the city to make friends. They're very social media forward. And then Allegheny HYP Club has opportunities for networking. Plus their venue downtown is a quote unquote quiet oasis. This is a private club, so you do have to pay for membership, but it seems to have a pretty long history in Pittsburgh. So it was like a merger of the Harvard, Yale, Princeton Club, the Pittsburgh Club, the Allegheny Club. So I think it sounds like perhaps they have brought this into the new generation and are having fun in public again. So thank you, Matthew. We appreciate your recommendations.
I will also shamelessly plug that City Paper did some awesome coverage of private clubs about a year ago, I think. So please do go back and check out those articles. Rachel Wilkinson, our then staff writer, did a really great job of digging into some of the private clubs downtown in particular.
Colin, we are going to drop that in the show notes.
I love that. Speaking of oldie but goodie.
If you want to share your favorite spot, a business, a nonprofit, a club, public or private, on the podcast and in our newsletter, you can become a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor and send it in to us. We will read it right here. You can join today at membership.citycast.fm. And welcome to our newest neighbor, Tina C. We are so glad to have you in our community.
And now just a few more things. A win, a loss, a couple things to know. We are going to start with this brouhaha that has been happening over in Monroeville, where they had a fairly innocuous little display in the library for Pride, celebrating Pride and queer stories. And then someone ruined it.
Yeah, so this was really the little fiasco that they created here. And I got some really great quotes when I went to see this for myself.
Yeah, Colin covered this. The whole thing started like the last few days of Pride Month. It would have come down a couple days later, probably.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think that got so many people incensed about this. So some quick background here. Municipal councilor in Monroeville, Bill Crutt, who's the Ward 4 councilor and is a former police officer, basically saw this display in mid-June and posted on his personal Facebook that he thought the display represented, quote, child sexual grooming. So this created a sort of little tempest in a teapot locally. He and two other counselors, Mike Adams and Bob Williams, no relation, agitated for removal. And the display was eventually removed, and municipal manager Alex Graziani took credit for the removal itself. So while these counselors had suggested initially that the Pride display be replaced with an America 250/July 4th celebration, the library actually ended up putting an empty display as a sort of protest against censorship. So locals were furious about this. Locals who
what
supported...
I saw on social was people saying like that they walked in and like demanded the library workers, like the librarians just doing their job, take it down. Like that. It's not that it was quietly done like after hours or something, that they made a whole show of it in the library. Is that what you found, Colin?
So what I did find, I don't know about those specifics particularly, but I know that the entire library board of trustees, which included longtime Pennsylvania representative Joe Markosik, they signed a unanimous letter decrying this whole decision. The staff, meanwhile, says that they received threats, that they were receiving messages calling them groomers and pedophiles and things of this nature. And so this all kind of came to a head on Tuesday during the Citizen Night, which is, it's a typical place for citizens to kind of air their concerns and to sort of bring issues before the city council. Notably, council was not in a position to make decisions based on this. It was just sort of a listening session. But I showed up at around 6:45 after getting a tip, and thank you, Riley Kay, for bringing this to City Paper's attention. And I found basically a couple hundred people present, packing the council chambers, completely filling the lobby. Monroeville police were turning people away, and council said at the beginning that this was likely going to continue until the end of the session at 9:30 p.m. And boy, did they get an earful from folks. So the library spoke very firmly in support of itself. There were a lot of people who spoke in favor of the local LGBTQ community. A lot of people spoke up against censorship and compared this to Nazi Germany. I will say also, one of my favorite comments came from a resident who said, "We try to keep things quiet in Monroeville, but boy, you guys did it up this time." But there were other speakers who spoke in favor of removal and in favor of the counselors who supported the removal. One speaker sort of made a veiled threat that the LGBTQ folks were going to go to hell. There was another speaker who said that basically God doesn't like soft men, which I thought was a pretty interesting and telling comment. And actually, one of the counselors who asked for removal used his time to praise God and speak against immigrants not assimilating into the country. There was even a back and forth at one point after the Pledge of Allegiance between people yelling "under God" on one side and "for all, justice for all" on the other. So it was a very clear illustration of the United States cultural divide.
Colin, as you're talking, my soul is just leaving my body. Like, I was raised very Christian conservative, and what scripture did these people read that they don't think the Bible supports soft masculinity? Like, what Christ do these people serve? It blows my mind every time.
Yeah, it was really revealing. And I obviously have some, personal feelings about this as somebody with a lot of LGBTQ friends and things. But I will say the version of Christianity that some of the speakers brought forth is not what I experienced in church as a child.
Yeah.
And it sounds like some of them also need to be reminded that there are people in our community who are not Christian. Yeah, deserve to be represented too.
Yeah. So I recommend checking out our coverage. I will also plug Kuberg's coverage. They did a really in-depth piece about this, and they got the full responses of some of the counselors, including my non-relative Bob Williams. But they included some of the full quotes from some of these counselors, which I think are worth reading to kind of understand their point of view. But Kuberg did great work on this, and it kind of remains to be seen which actions the municipal council will take following this fracas.
Also, shout out to Kuberg for launching an old school newspaper in the last couple of weeks. Their social post was hilarious. It was basically like, please join us in this terrible financial decision.
As somebody who's recently been what I call print maxing by subscribing to local print publications, I'm going to have to add that to my subscriptions list.
Print is back, baby.
Yeah,
so
honestly.
Back.
We need something to hold in our hand. Another thing to know, there has been more nonprofit money flowing to the city. The Henry L. Hillman Foundation gave $1 million a wee million for the URA, specifically for initiatives that improve main streets and support childcare businesses. And then the previous one was, of course, that big announcement with Highmark and UPMC. They're going to be paying for more ambulances, fire trucks, resources for fire and EMS. I think the breakdown ended up being $20 million from Highmark, $25 million for UPMC. I'm imagining like a poker game situation, or like, like at the Frick where they show like the breakfast table with a poker room where like they're just the executives are like, oh, you're giving 15, I'm gonna give 18. You gonna give 18, I'm gonna give 20. I want that to be what's happening here.
I'm glad you're seeing the same thing there, because when I saw the 20 million versus 25 million, I was like, that is so petty from UPMC. And like, I kind of love that in a way.
I think it's so funny. And UPMC had previously given additional money for the fleet. So I don't know, maybe Highmark Health has got more to give at an undisclosed date.
And I also think it's always important when these financial commitments are made and we debate whether it is enough or not. These donations, these ones from UPMC and Highmark, they're going to be given to the city over the course of 5 years. So you can divide that money by 5.
So $9 million per year if it's evenly broken down.
Also, always got to replug our episode all about why our big nonprofits do not pay property taxes to the city. We will have a link in the show notes if you want to get into the whole history of this. Megan and I had a very thorough convo, if I do say so myself, that can bring you up to speed.
Yes, 10 seconds before they started actually giving money. We were manifesting it and it happened. And lost this week. There was recently some reporting, we're a year out now from Trump's big, beautiful bill. And it found that 98,000 fewer Pennsylvanians are now on SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
This is a bit of a gut punch, because hearing that headline, I'm hearing implicitly that 98,000 fewer Pennsylvanians are getting the nutrition that they need, which raises real questions about childcare and things like that. Not for nothing, Pennsylvania did have very high SNAP participation. We have one of the highest rates of participation in the U.S.
But that's a good thing. That was a good number.
Right. I mean, it means that almost anybody who is eligible for these services actually had access to them, which is certainly not the case in some other states nationwide.
Yeah. And, in case you missed it or need a refresher, one of the big changes that was part of the big, beautiful bill that is leading to this was these work requirements to be eligible. So if you're not documenting 20 hours a week of work, volunteering, or education, you would lose your benefits.
Yeah, so there's still, unfortunately, more to come on this front. I mean, we've already seen a huge drop in penny enrollment. That's our state's Obamacare marketplace, basically. And
when there were all kinds of headlines this week about premiums are about to skyrocket if you're on any form of Obamacare.
Right. And to top it all off, there are changes to the work requirements for Medicaid that start next January. So this just means like a lot of people are losing access to the social safety net, basically.
Well, our win to end the show with some good news is also really about a show that's focused on our country's safety nets or lack thereof. This, of course, is The Pitt. Season 2 just got nominated for 25 Emmy Awards. And I do think they do really phenomenal work covering the situations people are ending up in because of the decisions our government is making in a way that does not feel preachy and feels very genuine. I think that's why you're seeing it get these nominations.
It is our generation's public service announcements. Like that is every episode has some kind of dose of that.
Yeah, Noah Wiley has, he's really taken a holistic approach to this in terms of the way he's been giving interviews about these topics, but he also is really bringing home the silverware. I mean, we saw The Pitt win 5 Emmys last year for
season. Or is it hardware?
I think it's hardware, right? He's
really bringing. I'm going to imagine him bringing home some spoons.
So he's really bringing home the hardware with The Pitt. I mean, he won 5 Emmys last year for season 1. There were some big ones like Outstanding Drama, Outstanding Lead Actor for Wiley himself. We saw Catherine Lanassa get an Outstanding Supporting Actor for her role as Dana. So it's great to see a show that has that level of kind of like PSA usefulness being combined with a show that is genuinely really fun to watch, and the critics are taking notice.
And I will say, when we've discussed The Pitt on the show before, we have sort of had this debate about how much is it giving other people outside of Pittsburgh an impression of our city? How much are they associating it with Pittsburgh? I was just at a conference here on the north side, and everyone, when they found out I was the Pittsburgher there, because it was a national conference, was asking how I felt about The Pitt, was so excited that they could actually go see the exterior of Allegheny General because we were just down the street. People wanted to take photo ops there. So that told me that it is working its magic. It's putting Pittsburgh on people's radar, and they're excited to come sightsee the one site that the show features.
The one site. My favorite piece of feedback we got was actually from one of our colleagues here at CityCast who wrote us and was like, so is everyone in Pittsburgh that hot? And my answer then and now is yes, we are. That is it for today's show. CityCast Pittsburgh neighbors can stick around because we're going to be saying goodbye to one of our favorites, truly an OG. I think I and another were the first hires at CityCast Pittsburgh. Francesca Dabecco, our wonderful newsletter writer, followed just a couple months later and has been with me from the beginning. She's my work bestie and she's moving on. So we want to celebrate her a little bit with our neighbors. If you're not a neighbor, if you're not a member of CityCast, you can become one by going to membership.citycast.fm, pause the show, and come back and listen to that members-only segment. You can also read her final goodbye, her newsletter segment in our CityCast Pittsburgh newsletter. So that is free for everyone, and it will remain so. We will go now to our member segment.
Parting is such sweet sorrow.
It is indeed.
Thank you for joining us, Francesca.
Thank you for having me. I guess this is where we tell the people, right?
Yeah, I did just let everybody know who wasn't a member to go to the newsletter to read your words. But I've thought since this is our member segment, since these are the folks who have genuinely put their money where their mouth is, that they are part of our neighborhood, it would be worth celebrating you a little bit more. Like this is the homecoming. Everybody here wants to be here, has made an effort to be here, and we're grateful for that. And God, Francesca, we're just so grateful for you.
The feeling is so mutual. And I don't know, Colin, you being here with me actually feels kind of right. Like we wildly an interesting series of events.
Tell the people why this is Kismet.
Yeah. So before 2022, when we kicked off this whole adventure, I wrote the newsletter for the Incline. And when I left the Incline, Colin took over for me and now is killing it at City Paper. But yeah, I'm just so grateful for all of you, my colleagues here on the mic. Megan, thank you so much for sharing the mic with me, and team, everyone who's in the background. I appreciate you all so much. And I'm so proud of what we've built together. And to the neighbors listening, your support has meant everything to me and to us. We literally can't do this without you. And so we're so grateful. More than anything, my mission has been to help people connect to the city that we all love. And it's just been such a joy to do that alongside you guys. And gosh, I mean, it doesn't feel real quite yet. And I hope, this is not the last time you'll ever be hearing from me. I'll still be around.
You will, in fact, hear from Francesca on Monday, because you're going to do a little events roundup for us. But I hope we get to hear from you in the future when you want to.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely going to miss landing in all of your inboxes every weekday and chatting with the team on mic, whether it's about new hot restaurants or the best ways to shop local or, events that you simply can't miss. We've had a lot of fun. And I was trying to reflect and think back, it's so hard. We've literally published thousands of
so many thousands. Yeah.
And episodes. And it's really hard to pinpoint highlights, but
yeah, I was gonna ask you, and I didn't forewarn you, so I apologize about that. But do you have highlights, things that you got to do while you were here, or that you got to write about or publish, or someone you got to talk to that's gonna live large in the mind?
It's really hard. It all feels standout and yet mashed together all at the same time. For those of you who follow along with us, you may know that we do a lot of our work virtually. We, are just reading to the end of the internet every day. We are recording, we're doing interviews, it's just quite a production here with this slim team. But I have really appreciated the moments that we've actually been able to do things in person together and take field trips. Some standout ones I'm thinking of when we got to go to the Green Burial site out in Verona, the Penn Forest Natural Burial Park. That was really lovely. We had just such a wonderful day hearing about their process. Also walking through the woods. It's so beautiful.
I feel like you and Mallory half planned your funerals while we were there.
We really did.
100%.
I've already told my family that that's where they need to stick me if I...
Absolutely. And if you haven't listened, go back and find that episode to learn about green burial.
And read Francesca's beautifully written article about it too.
Oh, thanks. That was a really good one. Also, remember, guys, when we did that fermented pop workshop?
Yes, also in Mallory's house.
Yes, in Mallory's house. That was with Community Cultures. Definitely look them up. They do a lot of really cool workshops, but you can find them at farmers markets, selling really interesting beverages.
My favorite was the strawberry top soda. So like when you chop your strawberries and you take the little green caps off of them, there are things you can do with that.
Yeah, and it actually still tastes like strawberry. Like, I'm a big believer in making use of the whole fruit and the whole vegetable and the whole dang thing. So that was really cool. Guys, what other field trips have we done? I'm like blanking.
I mean, I'm a little shocked, Francesca, you haven't yet mentioned Cheese Queen, where we got to build our own charcuterie boards.
Yes, that's in Mount Oliver. They do different workshops to help people sort of be their own little hospitality queens when they're hosting parties and such. But they hold different events and things too. So certainly follow them.
I have two. Number one, when we got to climb city steps, because Francesca, you've got to be like in the top 5 of city steps champions in the city. Like maybe definitely top 5 if you exclude the 3 people who wrote that book.
Oh, that's such a huge compliment. I love that day too. We went to the Basin Street steps in Troy Hill, and hack for everyone listening. There was a stunning view and even a bench up there if you want to take the climb and go and sit and enjoy the view of the city from a perspective that you don't often get. And you can like see the stacks of the old Heinz factory that's now apartments. That was really fun. Yes, I think we need to definitely celebrate and maintain our city steps.
Yes, infrastructure nerd Colin over here nodding heavily.
Yes.
There are city steps in my part of town, and they are useful and amazing, and the knotweed is swallowing them all. I would really like to use them more easily.
And so knotweed brings me to my other one. Francesca, when you got to bring on your literal, actual childhood bestie to talk about what's legal and what's not in your Pittsburgh backyard.
Yes, that was one of my favorites. It felt so right that we were talking about things that you can do in your backyard, because so many of my memories shared with her were in our backyards. And if you didn't listen to that one, go back, because it's really useful this time of year, especially to see, whether you're breaking the law or not, what you can build, what you can perhaps light on fire.
Mm-hmm. Whether you can be naked. That was a real submission we got.
Yes. No judgment here. Do what you want. As long as you're following the rules, go and listen. So you figure that out. Mm-hmm. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. So Katie joined us for that, and she has a spectacular city backyard. And so I really admire people who, can build these wonderful oases.
Close enough. Yeah.
Oasis?
It's your day, Francesca. It's whatever word you want it to be.
I won't make you cut that. We have real flops in these episodes. You guys have heard our little what are they called at the end of the episode?
The bloopers, the postscripts.
Oh my gosh. There's been so much fun. And I do want to ask Colin, that said, I know that you are joining us as an outsider from City Paper. But with the crew we have here, what kind of field trip would you want to go on with all of us here if you could dream one up?
Oh, man, that is a great question. I think we should do like an architectural boat tour sometime or something like that. I think that would be really fun. Or do an Allegheny Cleanways cleanup.
We need a speedboat to get from bridge to bridge fast enough.
Oh, don't get me started on how we need a water taxi in town. But,
Oh my gosh, I hard agree, Colin.
but
Yes.
yeah, I think a boat trip is in order. I think this is a great time to just say as well, especially given our kind of shared heritage at the Incline, that I have found since you left and joined CityCast that CityCast has very much become sort of the spiritual successor to what was built and eventually destroyed at the Incline. And I was literally just talking about this morning. So Francesca, wherever you end up, I think it's also worth plugging your book, which is an extension of that work. 100 Things to Do in Pittsburgh Before You Die. And I just thought I would share that as both a send off to you, Francesca, and also like a sort of well wish for the future, since I think CityCast is carrying that torch that we did for a few years there.
That is really sweet. Thank you, Colin, for those kind words. If that has been the legacy that you feel like it has carried on some semblance of the Incline, I can die happy. I feel, and I'm so proud of what we built. And I know that the team will do amazing things with the newsletter and the podcast going forward. And it won't be me in the inbox, my name there, but it'll still be amazing work from this team. So I hope everyone stays tuned, keep supporting.
The email may not be from you, Francesca, but I will be shocked if you don't end up in our inboxes again very soon. We are such big cheerleaders of you and your work. You will remain a champion of Pittsburgh. This is goodbye for now. Not goodbye forever. So to our neighbors who have supported us, supported Francesca, we're so grateful to you. We love you.
I love you too. I'll miss you guys too. I'm not going far.
We'll make you hang out with us in other ways.
I would love that. I will.
More field trips.
Yes, I will see yous out there. Both you guys and members will be out there in the Berg together.
That is all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. You can support us by becoming a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor. You can always learn more at membership.citycast.fm. Our music is by Los Mocochetes, Aaron Taylor Waldman, All the Kimonos, and Bagel, with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. Mallory Falk is our executive producer. Sophia Lowe produces the show. Francesca Dabecco is our outgoing newsletter writer. We're going to miss you, girl. Adrienne Gonzalez is our post-producer. Rachel Carlson is our audience development manager. And I am your host, Megan Harris. We'll be back on Monday with more from around the city. Have a great weekend, y'all.
The commercial
Bridge.
street bridge is the new birds. Is the new ducks covered in oil.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, seriously. Baby duck mascot. When?